My name is John Francis. I am the director of the Washburn Law Clinic. It is my pleasure to introduce our mid-morning panel this morning. Some of the folks on this panel you've already seen, so I'll give an abbreviated introduction for those people. To my immediate left is our panel moderator, Professor Joseph Margulies. As you've already heard, he is a clinical associate professor of law and associate director of the Roderick MacArthur Justice Center at Northwestern University School of Law. To Mr. Margulies' left is Samuel V. Jones. Professor Jones is an assistant professor at the John Marshall Law School. Professor Jones is a retired United States Army Reserve Judge Advocate and a former United States Marine. He's received numerous military awards and special assignments, for special assignments, including the Navy Meritorious Unit Citation for his actions as a Marine rifleman in the Navy SEAL counterterrorism program known as Red Cell. He is a graduate of the Army Judge Advocate General School, the Army Military Police School, the Marine Leadership Development School, and the Marines School of Infantry. Professor Jones earned his LLM from Columbia University School of Law, and those of us at Washburn have had the good fortune of meeting Professor Jones previously about 2 years ago, and we are delighted that he's returned for this conference. To Professor Jones' left is Ambassador Pierre Richard Prosper, who I believe you've already met as well. Ambassador Prosper is formerly United States Ambassador at Large in charge of Secretary of State's Office of War Crimes Issues. He held that post from July 2001 until October 2005. And at the end of the table is Gabor Rona. Mr. Rona is the International Legal Director of Human Rights First. Mr. Rona advises Human Rights First programs and on questions of international law and coordinates international human rights litigation. Before becoming director of Human Rights First, Gabor was a legal advisor in the legal division of the International Committee of the Red Cross in Geneva. So panelists, welcome. And I turn it over to Professor Margulies.
So now I take off the hat that says that people matter, and I put on the hat that says constitutional structure matters. There is a firmly held belief, a conventional wisdom, that beginning roughly with the Truman administration, the executive branch broke loose from its constitutional moorings and acquired or developed what Arthur Schlesinger described as an imperial presidency. The belief that, at least in the area of foreign policy and the conduct of military affairs, the president could act without approval from Congress, independent of the congressional voice, and certainly without interference from the judiciary. Partly in response to that, there is a critique that the judiciary post 9/11, recognizing the deficiencies of Congress, recognizing that Congress had abdicated its role, that it was that it absented itself in the constitutional structure, the judiciary has started to play a more robust role. And some people think that this is an appropriate and salutary replacement of checks and balances. And so we have seen post 9/11 a very vigorous involvement on the part of the judiciary, in particular in the detention cases, in Rasul, in Hamdi, in Padilla, in Hamdan, and to some extent in Munaf as well. And certainly, of course, in Boumediene. There are others who say that, as Dr. Turner described yesterday, because the unique demands post 9/11 have to do with gathering intelligence, and because intelligence gathering, the interrogation of captured personnel, is uniquely an executive challenge, that this reallocation of roles within the separation of powers is particularly ill-advised, and the judiciary simply has no proper place in monitoring what the executive does in gathering intelligence. That is something that the executive should be left to do. And so you can see that these questions implicate all three branches of government, the executive, the judicial, and the congressional. And our panelists today are going to address themselves to these questions. What should be the proper role of Congress and courts, and by implication the executive branch? What has it been since 9/11? What should it be going forward? And I suspect whatever else is that's on their mind. Please help me welcome Professor Jones, who's going to start us off.
Good morning. I am not a podium person or sit-down talker, and I wanted to be close to you all because I feel the intelligence is spreading and connecting with me. But I wanted to start off by sharing a quote for you. It is something that Thomas Jefferson said and Abraham Lincoln said long ago. Thomas Jefferson famously declared that the boundaries of government authority are defined by, I quote, the laws of necessity, of self-preservation, of saving our country when in danger. To lose our country by a scrupulous adherence to written law would be to lose the law itself. Abraham Lincoln said, would not the official oath be broken if the government should be overthrown when it was believed that disregarding a single law would tend to preserve it? And I share that with you all to launch into a point that I want to make about what we've been talking about in the last couple of days, or since yesterday. I believe that there are things that happen during war, okay? There is conduct that simply cannot be controlled by law. And what we have to do when we talk about the rule of law and the global war on terrorism is ask ourselves, what are we truly talking about? When I talk about the rule of law in war, I'm not talking about the war on communism, the war on crime, the global war on terrorism. I am talking about war. I am talking about seeking out, closing with, and destroying the enemy. I am talking about physical conduct. And when we talk about that type of interaction, that type of violence, we're talking about self-preservation. We're talking about the laws of survival. And so I would suggest to you that what governs during that setting is authority. It is authority, not rhetorical nutrition, not rhetoric, but authority. Now, what do I mean by that? There's been many discussion, a lot of discussion about the role of the Constitution and the role of law. But I ask myself, does the law truly control what's happening on the battlefield? Does it truly dictate what we do? And I think the answer to this question allows us to extrapolate what are the limits upon which the legislature and the judicial branch, what is the impact that they can have on conduct during war.